Hi again. Today we're going to be taking a look at the updated combat system for my game. The previous version looked cool, but it just doesn't feel very good. It's slow and a bit clunky. First though, we got to go through all the features and changes I didn't go through in the last vid. But wait, I've seen your comments about how creepy and unsettling my character looks. Well, I've taken them all into account and decided I'll invest some big bucks into a new one. Right, first let's chat about interactions. An interaction is anything the player interacts with. Quite a simple concept to grasp, I would say. I've set interactions up in a way so that you can't enter them if an enemy is nearby. I can change the distance enemies are affected with this box collider. These right here are camps and are the game's checkpoints. When sitting at a camp, the player's health and carryable heals will replenish. He will also respawn at this spot, and all the coins the player is carrying goes to the bank. Unfortunately, there'll be no marshmallows. Dialogue is a tough one. I tried to keep the system as simple as possible, so there won't be any dialogue options or branching pathways. But I wanted a way to keep things interesting, so I created a system where NPCs can react to what the player does. For example, if the player defeats these enemies without taking any damage and then talks to this NPC, he says this. But if the player decides to rest before even introducing themselves to the NPC, he goes on to say this. I think this really makes the NPCs feel more alive in a nice, subtle way. I'm quite proud of the system I created for this, as I wrote it quite early in my programming career, as in like 2 months ago. I still have no idea what I'm doing. Another interaction is these chests. The player can get coins for them, which will eventually be used for damage and health upgrades, and a bunch of other things. If the player dies, they'll drop this death chest, which has all their loot in it. The player can then simply stroll back to the spot they died and retrieve their coins. Oh, and as I mentioned earlier, the coins will be put in a bank when resting, so it's not too punishing. I'll probably change it to a corpse later rather than a random box that is somehow hidden under his cloak. I planned for the map to be quite large, so I couldn't just jam everything into one large scene. I opted to have many different scenes. Now I know what you're thinking. How do you keep them all together? Well, this is where scriptable objects come in. These little gems, they act as bridges between scenes. So when a player hits a trigger, the scene fades to black. The next scene loads in, and boom, back in the action. Pretty smooth, right? I've even gone as far as taking away the player's movement for half a second, so the character can nicely walk out with no interruptions. So far, I've only created a few different areas, including this forest. Looking pretty darn groovy if I do say so myself. Unless I completely change the art style, I feel like it's in a finished place look-wise. I've also started on this cave. And bunker area. I'm using Level Designer Toolkit to design each level. Once I have the visual style down for an area, I can probably whip up a room in about half an hour. All I need to do is just drag in the level I want to make, and use all the assets and tiles I've created to go over it, and boom, I've got a room. Here's what the combat looked like before. And here's what it looks like now. It took a while to get to this stage. I tried all sorts of things, like these weird fist attacks, and a parry system, but none of it felt right. I ended up taking a page out of Hollow Knight's book, and allowed the player to move in either direction while attacking. This feels so much better. I'm going to have to rework the AI a bit, but other than that, I think combat's in a really good place. I decided the player would have this sort of blue energy which he could use to attack, and I'm not stopping there. I'm planning on adding this energy to some of the other abilities, like the bow. and double jump. Plus, I also added a whole new ability that uses it, gliding. This allows the player to reach much further distances and will allow for some crazy parkour when matched with all the other abilities. And there we go. You're all caught up. Thanks for watching, guys. I do want to quickly say I'm making this game more for fun and a learning experience above anything else. There's a high likelihood it will never be finished. I did burn out about a month ago, and I'm not going to lie, I haven't really worked on the game since. No need to fear though, I'm slowly getting back into it. And as someone once said, even if you're moving at a snail's pace, as long as you're moving forward, you're making progress. Damn, that was smooth. Just made that up right now. Anyways, I'll see you in a bit. Bye.